This is a video about the 1-hour technology workshop that I developed to teach about Nearpod. First, we're going to start with the Nearpod technology workshop lesson plan, and I'm going to compare it to the rubric to see how it meets the criteria. So first we have the overview and purpose, and the main purpose of this workshop was the principal wanted the teachers to have more training on applications that could promote student learning and differentiation while also being highly engaging. So I found 4 different apps that I thought would see fit, and the staff voted on what they thought was best, and we decided Nearpod. So then we focused on how Nearpod could be used to enhance and differentiate instruction. So that was the focus. These are the standards that match. These are the objectives, which we will also see later. The materials needed, evaluation, and I have an evaluation method for each objective. I have levels 1, 2, and 4. And you can see they repeat how they see fit. And then I have a reaction to the workshop presentation as a whole, which we'll see the results to all of those evaluations later. And the activity that we will be completing. And then it starts getting into the bulk. This is what I passed out prior to the workshop beginning. So first I have the research summary. Now this summary of research was based on research collected by Nearpod, and I have just snippets of the important parts, and I have the reference down here, and I have a way for the teachers to access the original research so that they could learn more information about the actual research that was conducted. Next, we have a guide to the Nearpod features. For this document that I created, I wanted an easy way for the teachers to be able to reference all the Nearpod features that they can embed in their lessons. So I basically have the name of the feature, the symbol, and a small explanation of each feature so they could refer to it as they were creating the Nearpod in the workshop. Next, I have a how-to document on how to create and edit a Nearpod for the teacher to reference during the workshop and after. For this document, I took screenshots of the screencast I created explaining how to create and edit a Nearpod for the teachers to reference. I did this in a video format first, and then created pictures from the video. The next document is how to share Nearpod, and that's for the teachers to reference during and after the workshop. Just as the create and edit document, these are screenshots of the screencast I created. It's just a video of how to edit so the teachers can view it after the workshop is completed. Final handout is the guide to selecting the Nearpod lessons, and this is just like the other two where I took screenshots of the screencast I created. For all of the documents, I have the link to the original video where the screenshots were taken. All of these videos were created by me using the Screencast-O-Matic screencast application. And again, I just took screenshots from the screencast videos. So you can see I have 3 or more handouts to support the learning. So that's how I've reach the advanced level on the handouts portion. Next, we will look at the online instructional component, and for the online instructional component for the workshop, I actually created a Nearpod to teach about Nearpod, and so next we will look at that. So now we are looking at the actual Nearpod for the Nearpod workshop, and I launched this as a live lesson, and so the teachers got a code to put in during the workshop. So first I talked about the objectives and the agenda. And then we watched an overview video about what Nearpod is, and this is from Nearpod itself, and I reference it at the end of the Nearpod workshop. Then we look at the research, which I gave them a handout about, but this is the actual website embedded and where the research came from, so we can take a few seconds to actually look at it in depth. And then we start looking at the features of Nearpod that you can embed in the lesson plan. I give explanations of each one, as well as an example, and an explanation as to why it should be used for some of them. This information was taken from Nearpod itself, so not all of them have an explanation such as this. After we reviewed all the features, we talked about how to select a Nearpod, and I just broke it down for them step by step and showed them. I also have a screencast here for them to reference at a later time, and they also have the step-by-step directions from the handout. After we talked about selecting appropriate Nearpods using filters, we talked about editing and creating a lesson. Again, I did step-by-step directions and showed them, and I also have a video and a handout for them to reference as we were completing that process. Next, we talked about how to share a lesson. Again, video, and they had the handout to reference. Then I gave the participants some time to select, edit, create, or share some Nearpods, and I supported the teachers and observed their behaviors as they worked on that process for the evaluation data. And we took a quiz that asked general questions about the workshop so I could get feedback and evaluate how well I did as a presenter. Last, I explained the competition, and this competition was to promote the use of implementation of Nearpod in the classroom. The first person that provided evidence to me that they had used Nearpod in their classroom would win a Nearpod pop socket, and so that was to encourage them and give them some incentive to bring it back to the classroom beyond the basic benefits of just using Nearpod. Last, I showed them how to get help if they need it. They can, of course, always email me, visit Nearpod's main website, or visit the website that I created, and that's what we're going to be looking at next. Now, when you go to the next slide, it actually pulls up the website that I created to provide support to the teachers to extend beyond the workshop. So on the website, we'll just go through the website. A lot of this information is overlapping from the Nearpod because it's just for them to reference later. So I have what is Nearpod, the implementation resources, how to contact me, the workshop resources, and the actual Nearpod website. So first we'll go into what is Nearpod. Again, I have that video and what the research says, that same handout, and here's the link to go to the original case studies. Then we have the implementation resources. We have the Nearpod features, selecting, how to share, how to create and edit, and back to home. So first we'll go to Nearpod features. I give a brief explanation. We have a student experience video. I have a Nearpod that comes up right here about the student experience, what it looks like from their perspective doing all the activities. This embedded link sometimes doesn't load, so I also provided the link here. And then I have a slideshow of the feature handout that I created. Then we can go to selecting a Nearpod. Again, I have the screencast video, the written directions handout that I created, and then a slideshow with the directions right on the web page. And that is similar for the other two pages. So how to create, same format, video, document, and slideshow of pictures, and for share. Next, I have the workshop resources, and this is where I have all the things for the workshop specific resources, such as the agenda. This actual video that I'm creating right now will go here, the results, and my reflection of results. Also have my flyer that I created for the workshop right there for viewing. Here I have the agenda and the objectives in a slideshow. And I also have a link to the lesson plan that I was showing you earlier. Then I have the workshop screencast. Nothing is in here yet, but this is where this video that I'm creating right now will go. Then I have the results from the workshop and the workshop reflection, which we will talk about in the evaluation portion. So you can see I have a Nearpod to support the learning and an additional website to support the learning. So I believe I'm in the advanced column for the online instructional component. So now that we have looked at the online instructional component, we are going to look at the evaluation and the results. So for the evaluation, each objective was evaluated with the different levels, and I used polls and quizzes. And open-ended questions. Now we will look at the summary of results. So now we're at the summary of results, and most of the evaluations occurred within the Nearpod itself during the workshop. Some of them were after, but we will get to that. So you can see I had 25 participants, about 85% participated, and that was because we had some technology issues with computers and iPads freezing as well as dying. So that same 85, you can see that correlates. So right here we have objective 1 and the results and the quiz results. Then I have reflection for Objective 1 and how well they mastered Objective 1. Then I have Objective 2 results with the checklist, and I have the percentage of what I observed. And then I have another reflection narrative for just Objective 2. And then I have the poll results. And as you can see, the Nearpod 3D, Draw It, Virtual Field Trip, Open-Ended Questions, those were popular choices. I also have another quiz results. And Open-Ended Questions, I have responses right here. And the narrative for Objective 3. Then I have Objective 4, results and narrative. Objective 5, results. And then that's who won the Nearpod Poplet. You can see it's right there. She was the first one to implement Nearpod in her classroom, and she provided picture evidence for me. Then I have my narrative reflection for Objective 5 right here. And then I have the overall reaction to the presentation, such as how much they enjoyed it and what I needed to know, some feedback. And then a reflection narrative on the presentation itself. And then I have an overall reflection about the workshop in general. So as you can see, I addressed 3 of the GUSKI levels, including 1, 2, and 4. I have all different kinds of question types, and they're all valid, and I used them within the Nearpod itself, so that's how my tool is digital. For the results, I have a table of results, and I have well-written narratives for each objective, as well as an overview narrative and follow-up plans for each. So now that we're back on the website, I can show you the results. So again, they're here for convenience. I just put them in either a slideshow view for each objective or just a picture if there was just one picture for that objective for each one. And then I have the reflections of each. I just put them all together in one and made it into a slideshow. And then lastly, I have the contact. Finally, we're at the additional elements. So first we have the workshop narrative. Again, I just took the narratives from the evaluation summary and put them all together in one central location for easy reading and convenience. Next, I have the Nearpod student experience. I have the actual Nearpod that shows how it works and a screencast video of me completing it. And this is just so teachers can really understand how the features work. So I have a screencast video posted on YouTube, and this is embedded in Nearpod. So we will look at both of those real quick. So this is the Nearpod student experience that I created for teachers to really get a firm understanding of the features, like I mentioned. Next, I have the Nearpod promotional flyer, which was part of our weekly emails that she just added it in there. My principal did. Promotional flyer. Next, we have the screencast videos for how to select, create, and edit, and share Nearpod. And I just created those using the screencast app, Screencast-O-Matic, and posted them on YouTube, and I will show you those now. This is the sharing a Nearpod screencast video. This is the how to create and edit a Nearpod screencast video. And this is selecting a lesson in Nearpod screencast video. So because I have YouTube videos and promotional flyers, and I will also have this video, I have met the requirements for the additional elements. So last on the lesson plan will be this video that I'm making now, which will go here, and my references, which are also in the Nearpod that I shared with the teacher, and you can see that's here. And so I hope you enjoyed my 1-hour technology workshop. I really worked hard to make it great and to make resources that the teachers could use to really help them implement Nearpod in their classroom. Thank you for listening.